Guys, how's it going? Isabella here from AquaZone, and today I'd like to talk about a subject that's relative to poultry, chickens, and other birds, and winter. Because as you might know, I own a little homestead, and aside from having fish tanks, I also have chickens and turkeys, and maybe other things soon. So in this video, I'd like to discuss a very important subject, and it is chicken in winter. Precisely why your chickens die during winter more than any other seasons. So let's explore the top reasons why I believe that chickens don't make it through winter. And aside the obvious things like parasites, confinement, there are very important factors you have to keep in mind. Chickens live by hierarchy, and hierarchy means the dominant ones always get to eat first, as we can see here. I just gave them some buckwheat bread, and it's always the top-notch ones that are eating first. And the non-dominant ones are praying that anything will be left. Well, the number one reason why your chickens don't make it through winter is because there's a very important pecking order. And in confinement, they don't always make it to food and water. So what do you do in the winter to make sure even your little rejects and babies and everyone that's in lower ranks gets access to food and water? Well, let me back up and show you a little bit. This is my chicken coop. It's, I believe, 12 by 16 feet. And all the way to the top, you see feeders and waterers. You also see them in the middle levels with some gates, and you see them the bottom levels. So on this 12 by 16 coop, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waterers. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 8, and 9 feeders. All right, maybe I've overkilled it, but everyone's getting some food. And there's also hanging food. It's very important, all right, that during winter, chickens don't eat off the ground, or the least possible, okay? I know chickens are like little dinosaurs that like to, dig the floor and stuff. But the thing is, if your chickens have worms, and most animals have worms, they will end up re-ingesting their feces and creating internal parasite infestation, which is your number one reason why chickens don't make it through winter, is internal parasite overload. So how do you avoid having an overload of parasites? Is by feeding them off the ground. You see, all the feeders are away from the ground. There's some even high up in the air. Given they will be dropped at some point, those seeds on the ground, and they will scratch. All right, but majority of their feedings are done higher up. So another thing you can do in the winter is, instead of bread in here, I would suspend pumpkins. And pumpkin seeds are really good against internal parasites. Another thing in the winter to remember is malnutrition. Okay, what is malnutrition? If you feed only one type of poultry feed and they're stuck inside, and here the winter lasts, 6 months out of the year, and we're only in December. So they will run into malnutrition problems. So what do? Well, you vary the type of feed they get, and you prioritize unbroken grains. Like broken grains plus humidity will create mold, and you never know when it's going to be too much humidity and your food is going to mold. So I buy just regular wild bird grains, or like unbroken poultry grains, and that's what I feed them. It's less prone to having mold inside, and also it has a variety of grains in there. But you also notice I kind of don't just feed grains, right? I feed them actual deer meat. This is meat scavenges from the hunters. When the hunters, they go hunting, they catch deer, they catch moose, and whatever they're not using to feed themselves, well, they usually put in recycling bins of meat. Well, I come and I pick it all up for the dogs, for the chickens, and the cat. And the important part here is that you freeze it over 3 days in complete frost, like sub-zero temperatures. Because sometimes meat, well, not sometimes, most times, meat carries parasites. And you don't want more parasites in your chicken coop. So what do? To be safe, freeze it for a whole week, okay? I don't really need a freezer, so I just have some recycling bins standing outside, not here, but further down. And it's frozen for 6 months out of the year. I have complete protein for the chickens. And when they're done, I give the rest of the bone to the dogs. And they recycle the rest inside, like the bone marrow and so on. And same for the pumpkins. I leave them outside, they're frozen, they cannot go bad. And once a week I give them a pumpkin I split in half in here. What else are they missing though? Well, what do chickens like to eat outside? They like to eat greens. Of course they eat greens. So I get them hay that's destined to feed sheep, horses, cows, like high quality hay without any moisture, so they don't have like dust or mold inside. And I feed it to them. And whatever they don't eat, it just becomes chicken litter. And this is actually, there's no floor here. This is built on my septic field. Actually, the field itself is out there, but this is the holes where they collect the poo-poo once every 2 years. So it was practical for me to actually find it if I need to empty it, you know, because it's underneath these buckets. And so it became my composting. Yeah. So what did chickens do? They break down all the leaf litter I put in here for the winter. I put like about 20 inches of leaf litter. And when I see it's like getting a bit dirty on the top, I take like a pitchfork and I flip it around, and that's it. Another thing you have to keep in mind is water. Fresh water every day. Clean and fresh. And accessible to everyone, even the rejects. I call them the rejects because these are two young roosters that Mr. Big doesn't want to let close. And Mr. Big number 2 is like, hell no, you don't touch my females. So fresh water for everyone. And why I have this, even though everyone can go in and out, this is the baby section with the heat lamps. So they can stay safe inside. And also young rejects can go in there. And before anyone attacks them, they have like the reflexology of going away. But usually larger adults don't go inside. Like she's a young female. She just runs in and out because she has a nice piece of bread. But that's what happens. And we got Mama in here that takes care of all these babies inside. And that's their section. So nice, warm, fresh hay, food, and water. And I also have my oil heater here. Right now the door is open, so it's like 10 Celsius. I should close it and it'll be like 15. But this is an oil heater. I run it on colder days, any day under zero. Freezing temperatures, I guess, if you're in the US. And so what does the oil heater do? That's my next point. It's the same kind of that the heat lamps do. They dry up the humidity. Obviously, I have many waterers. Obviously, it would be ideal to have the waterers outside. And I do have some for the turkeys that don't live inside. So I have this one with the defrost that I forgot to put back in. So that's how it works for the turkeys. It's plugged in and you see. But for hi cat, for anyone that doesn't want to go outside, it's imperative for me to keep this place dry because humidity creates pneumonia in chickens. Like chickens cannot handle anything above 70% humidity in their coops. So they absolutely need to be dry and warm-ish. It's not so much the cold that kills them, but the thing is, I have so many juveniles in here. It would be unfair to freeze their butts. What a man. And what else? Am I missing anything? Humidity, heat, waters, feeders, variety of feed, no mold, accessibility. Yeah, these are the main factors, I would say. Oh, and they're freaking obvious, guys, okay? Like, I don't care how humans choose to live, but when you own animals, you owe it to them to keep it clean. Like, not like clean like inside your house, obviously, okay? Because they're gonna shit even on walls. We know that, okay? Let's say wash your walls every day. But you gotta keep it clean, like in there, perches to the maximum possible. If you see any accumulation of poop, clean your perches, clean your places where they lay their eggs. And, oh, I forgot one last point. They gotta be able to dust in the winter, okay? So anywhere where I don't have waterers, they can dig this up, okay? And it's super dry. That's why it's important to keep your coop dry. Because if they're not able to dust themselves, and most birds carry external parasites. Like, I consider myself lucky every time I check them, there's nothing. Because I use a product, it's called Elector PSP, which is a non-toxic bacteria that attacks the fundamentals of external parasites. But most birds carry mites, okay? Mites, lice, all that stuff. And naturally, strong birds go out and start dusting themselves outside, where they're stuck inside, mixed to this humidity and cold, and they're gonna freaking die from anemia from being eaten alive by their mite infestation. So it's important that you have a spot that's dry enough that they can dig and they can dust themselves. Like, I don't know if I can dig. I know they usually dust in front of the door, but speaking of dust, you see there's dust all over. That's what they use to dust themselves. And if you wanna put a tire with sand and stuff, go ahead. But I prefer having a base underneath all that stuff of the peat moss, because it gets very dusty if they start dusting indoors and the dust is too fine, okay? Especially do not put diatomaceous earth in their dusting bath. The reason why, it's microcrystals of microorganisms that will get lodged into their lungs, and then you won't know it, they catch pneumonia, they die. So don't put diatomaceous earth in their dusting. I know it's said all over the internet. Use my experience. I've been doing this a while. So peat moss, sand, like charcoal dust, cool. But keep it dry. If you keep it dry, it's gonna be fine. And have deep bed method substrate. It doesn't stink. That's another thing. I know the video is getting long, but you better watch the entire thing. Ammonia from when it's dirty will create them respiratory distresses. Look, the cat's here. Hey, Elijah. So keep it clean, otherwise the ammonia is gonna kill them. And it's gonna kill you also when you walk in and out, because it's gonna be so dirty. So, and guess what? The last bonus of the bonuses, have a farm cat. This cat, okay, doesn't touch the babies, doesn't touch the adults. He's been raised, like, since day one I got him, he was, 8 weeks? This is a Maine Coon cat. Farm cat, comes in and out of the house as he pleases, but he does his job. I think this breed of cat is perfect for the climate, for his job. It'll keep the pests out of your coop. The pests, they can eat your babies, they can transmit disease, parasite, internal, external. They'll eat your feed. You have a farm cat, that little guy is gonna do a good job. And I have pictures of proof that he does a good job. And in front of the coop, he leaves me decapitated mice. He even brings like weird little hamsters. I don't even think hamsters are bad in the coop, but even that he catches and brings. So have a good cat that knows his job. And don't give up on the cat also, because just as my dog, sometimes cats in the beginning, they tend to be a little crazy with the chickens. But if you expose them very young and you make this normal, he will differentiate a wild bird, a wild rodent from his friends, the chickens. So it's very important to have that. It's like a symbiosis, you know. You need a cat if you have a barn. So that'll be all, friends, and I hope you like this video. Give it a thumbs up if you feel like it. Share it, because it should be shared, this information. And yeah, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Then I hope I provide you more homesteading videos. All right, talk to you later, guys. Bye bye.